Oh, thanks. Yeah. We're excited.
Our next item is Red Rocks Group zoning amendment.
Please just take it that the crowd is here for me, so I'll try to put the easel in such a way that they can see this. Is the engineer still out there? She left her tripod. Oh, was it? Okay, she asked her.
So obviously, we have a large group here for Red Rock. So an application for a zoning amendment for property located along Sleepy Hollow Road, lot to lot number 771-F-75, has been formally provided to the Planning Commission this evening for review purposes only. As you can see, they were just handed out. This application will be placed on the March 22nd, 2023 regularly scheduled meeting for consideration at that time. There will be no presentation, or there was no presentation planned this evening, as for the Planning Commission to have time to review the application as well as comments from the planner and our engineer. Now I know, can you state your name, sir?
My name is Stephen Victor from Victor Wetzel Associates. We're the land planners for the Red Rocks Group. We have filed the application and have prepared the documents we'll be showing if you wish us to make a presentation. If it's your desire not to, we'd be happy to just wait and do it next month. Your pleasure.
Well, I think you were going to almost have to do it twice, sir.
Yeah, I'm anticipating you're going to come back, so it's not a problem. I have no problem. I'm
I
here.
hope everyone does understand that we are just getting this for the first time. This is not on the agenda for this month's meeting. So if you're here, if you'd like to do a quick presentation, but again, next month you're going to have to redo your presentation. So there's a lot of people here who kind of want to hear what your presentation is. Sure.
Did you want to do the staff comments first, or should I do, what would you like?
No. Why don't we just do a quick overview of the plan?
Sure.
And for the folks in the audience, I know there's a lot of people, and I understand that there is some apprehension about the proposal. So what we would, since this is not officially on the agenda tonight, if we could have one or two spokespeople come up to give us an opinion of your position. As I said, unfortunately, this isn't on our agenda tonight. The idea was to provide us with the documentation so that we could review it in preparation for next month's meeting. But that being said, I recognize that there's a lot of folks out here who have come to visit us this evening, which is unusual. Most
I
cases,
didn't know I could draw such a crowd.
yes. So, and we would like to hear your opinions, as I'm sure Mr. Victor would as well. But if we could, as I said, we have one or two people come up, present the views of the community, and then we'll take that with us as we review this packet for next month. But,
We need to hear what he says first.
well, so.
Because how can we have an opinion if we don't know what he says?
Exactly. May I ask a question? obviously, most of us have just heard about this. So to have someone represent us all is a little awkward since we don't even know what's going on.
That's totally understandable. We agree. We're just finding this ourselves now. It's just a.
Yeah, I would suggest that the person that comes up and speaks doesn't say everything that is everybody's point, well, then someone can come up and add to it. I think our point was, and I'm sure everyone else has point too, to just say the same thing over and over again when we have no decision to make tonight. So I would say, let's make sure all the points get out there that need to be made. So if someone speaks for you and they're not speaking for you, then I'd say you need to speak for yourself and add whatever additional information you need to add.
When will the decision be made? Is it
Next month.
the next month?
Well,
Everybody here might want to say something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, next,
So you're asking.
And
one or
we're
two
all
people to
entitled to
say
I'll be
speak.
happy to try to summarize.
the next,
My wife and I did contemplate.
I'll second that.
this,
I can try to do that.
this comes back, this comes before us on our next meeting, which is March 22nd. As has been mentioned, this is the first, we are seeing this as well. We do not, I have an open mind, I don't even know any details. So, because of that, we have no questions to ask the developer, we have no questions to ask you, the audience. So, the idea is, tonight is just here's a quick overview. If there's one or two people that can present to us, the community, then next month, this is going to be on our agenda, and I would venture to say it's probably gonna be the only thing on our agenda. At which point, and just as a reminder to everyone, we make recommendations. We do not make a final decision. When Mr. Victor comes back next month and makes his presentation with all the details, and you give us your input, we make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. That recommendation may be to accept the application. It may be to not accept it. It will then go to the Board of Supervisors, who will have the final say. They will have a public hearing, and they will have the final decision on this plan. Yes, Ms. Yeagle?
The planning commission recommendation that you just identified, and it moving to the Board of Supervisors, that would anticipate if such a discussion on your March 22nd meeting, the planning commission is made, that it would be on an April 10 agenda for Board of Supervisors, and it would need to, I think the consideration for the township would need to, appropriately advertise for that if it's a
Yes.
public meeting or if it's a public hearing, however that may end up as, an advertisement and an agenda. So just to put the next point of time, if
Okay.
we're going to ask that
Yes.
April 10th follows your, for supervisors, follows your March 22nd.
Yeah,
Thank
so,
you, thank you.
so just to summarize, so tonight, we're just getting an overview. And it's an opportunity for you, the public, to get that same overview. March 22nd, assuming everything that Mr. Victor, if Mr. Victor has everything together, it will be back in front of us for a public meeting. If it gets approved, or even if it doesn't get approved, it goes to the supervisors, and that'll be the April 8th? 10th, sorry. April 10th meeting, which will once again be a public meeting, and as I said, the Board of Supervisors have final say. We just make recommendations. Okay? If you'll need to come up and sign in.
Wait, let me do my presentation.
Yeah, let's do that. And then- I agree, that's fine.
And while he's getting ready to do that, we know that many of you are here to voice your opinion, probably in opposition to the situation. We know that. So what we're interested in finding out is hearing from Mr. Victor, as well as you. And also, this packet that was presented to us goes through a process where we talked to the planning consultant as well as the site engineer to get their information to help us in the decision-making process at our March 22nd meeting. So it's got to go through the process. But the process will allow you and us to hear this for the first time and go from that point. I would only ask, because when a crowd gets this big, that we're courteous to those that are presenting. No, booing and cheering and all of that. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to hear the presentation, take it in for consideration, and then move forward at our March 22nd meeting. But you're hearing it the first time we're hearing it. So I would ask you to be concise and succinct but brief at the same time, so that we could have the audience representatives say what they want to say. And I would ask also, as Mr. Bracker has said, 1 or 2 or 3 people, because otherwise we're going to be here till 11 o'clock. And you may see me walk out of here because I'm on some medications that I have to visit the restroom every now and again. So don't get mad if I get up and walk out and come back in. So, Mr. Bracker, I think with those words said, we should go ahead and move forward with Mr. Victor's presentation.
Yes, thank you, I'll be brief. For the sake of the audience, we have filed an application for rezoning. In the process of doing the rezoning, there is a certain amount of information, and I'll share that with you tonight as what we're discussing. But the rezoning is only the first of basically 2 steps. The first is, may we be allowed to change the zoning from R2 to R4? And if at the end of the process through the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, the answer is yes, then that would allow us to then go into the second step, which is to go into engineering and land development drawings. So during the rezoning process, if you start asking me questions that are pertaining to the land development process, such as, what's the stormwater going to do? How much trip generation would there be? Et cetera, et cetera. Those are really land development questions. And so we need to get through the process. Are we changing the map, the township map, from R2 to R4? That's the question at hand. You'll see bits and detail, some engineering information, but again, it's a fine line, and if I answer, I can't give it to you, it's just because we're not at step 2. So,
And Mr. Victor, would those questions be properly addressed at the public hearing that's going to be held?
well, no, because we have not.
Why is there a zoning request?
Right,
If
you don't know
someone-
anything.
If someone asks,
Hold on, folks, that's,
then to the extent that people will be asking questions, we express some opinions tonight, and on March 22nd. If they express certain questions that we can address, we will do so at the April 10th public hearing.
okay.
But if they get specific and ask, something very specific relative to engineering, what's the street grades and what's the vertical curves, things like that. No, it's the next level of stuff. But to the extent that this is an open process, people have questions, I may not be able to answer tonight or next week, but certainly anything they put forth to us, we will address to the extent that
Yeah, and to be perfectly clear, so what the planning commission is going to be asked to do is address the proposed or possibly proposed change in zoning, just the proposed change in zoning from R2 to R4. And R2 is more of, maybe I should just stop there and let you explain what R2 and R4 are.
Yes, good, thank you. First, in all of the drawings that you see here tonight, they are in the rezoning application the board has and the staff has. If you want to see them, you can come to the township and they are available here for you to see. So, and if you can't see the drawing tonight, you want to follow up with it, or just want to have a copy, come to the township and it could be made available to you, or at least you can view it so it is a public record. So the first drawing is just the township map showing where the property is located. It's here in what's called the south westerly portion of the township. All of the green area here is 2,000 acres of South Park, and you'll see we have South Park on our east and northerly boundaries. This is an aerial photograph that zooms in, and again, the subject property is outlined here in red. We have Sleepy Hollow Road, that comes through off of your Stoltz Road, it's an aerial photo, so you might be able to, if you live in the neighborhood, you can pick out your houses. Stoltz Road, here's Sleepy Hollow Road, here is the tennis center, the enclosed building for the tennis facility is a landmark for you there. Along Sleepy Hollow Road, comes back to and into the park. We own property, 54 acres on the northerly side that's zoned R2, and 11 acres on the southerly side of Sleepy Hollow that's zoned R1. It is this northerly piece that we're looking to rezone. The hatched area, again, shows the 54 acres of which we are requesting to rezone from R2 to R4. And I'll go quick and brief. As part of our application, we were asked to demonstrate what the use of the property could be under the R2 zoning. R2 zoning is primarily single family. And so what we've laid out is a series of streets and lots showing that it is possible to generate 123 single-family lots on the property with its current zoning. We are also showing that on the south side of Sleepy Hollow, where we have the 11 acres, that we don't believe it's really usable because you have the stream running through there, and it would be the area where we would do stormwater management. And lastly, this would be the proposal, if granted the R2 to R4 rezoning, we would propose that Sleepy Hollow Road, which is in poor shape today, would be reconstructed to township standards, off of which we would construct 3 access points and develop a roadway network in this fashion, and that we would have a clubhouse, pool, and pickleball facility located here for the residents. We're looking at 294 townhouse units on the property. So that is what would be allowed if rezoned from R2 to R4. Again, the south side of Sleepy Hollow, we didn't rezone, we won't be developing it because, again, it's a great place for doing stormwater management and just leaving it because of the existing stream. Again, we like this piece of property because it is reasonably isolated due to the fact that its access is solely off of Sleepy Hollow, the fact that we have significant frontage along there, and that it provides an opportunity for housing that is not always readily available in a community. Thank you, and leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the quick overview. And as Mr. Victor said, this is the